Kicking ain't easy, and it feels like we've made this video 17 times this season because it keeps cropping its head up, and the Vikings, given their history with kicking, because Greg Joseph, who got himself a nice little $2.5 million contract this year, probably the reason why he hasn't been cut yet, because he's still going to count against the salary cap dead if he's cut, but he hasn't been good. Where this season, I think it was Thomason who pointed this out. I was like, well, if you take away the missed point afters as well as anything closer than 50, Greg Joseph is perfect this year, which I mean is true. It's fair, but Greg Joseph has missed 10 kicks, 5 point afters, which are inexcusable, 5 field goals from 50 plus yards, which, you know, it's not that easy for most kickers around the league, but Greg Joseph is supposed to be a big-legged, long-distance specialist. So the fact that he's shanking those, it just stands out, man. And the Vikings played 11 games. Greg Joseph has missed 10 kicks in that time. It's just completely unacceptable, and we keep bringing it up because it keeps happening. In fact, he had a stretch of 5 games between week 3, the Lions, and week 8 of the Cardinals where he missed a kick. So 2 missed field goals from 50 against the Lions, but of course that's when the doors were open, and whoosh, Lions kicker missed 2. And then you had the Saints game where, yes, he kicked 5 field goals, congratulations, but also missed that point after, which completely changed the dynamic of the game later on. And then you got the Bears game, missed 2 field goals. Would have been nice to have a little bit of extra points as the Bears came roaring back. And then you got the Dolphins, missed PAT. Same thing with the Cardinals game where he missed a field goal and a PAT. So it would have made a little bit of a difference being up 9 versus 8, which they were in those 2 respective games. Then the Bills game, missed PAT. I wonder if that would have changed things just a little bit at the end of the game if the Vikings were up 4 as opposed to being up 3, but is what it is. And then Thursday night had another missed PAT where the Vikings could have gone up 4, instead they went up 3. And it's not funny anymore. It really isn't. Now, I understand we got the memes and all this stuff of Vikings kicking history, and of course Greg Joseph and all that stuff, but this is not funny. And the Vikings, since they're dead set to play these close games, except for Dallas and Philly, eventually this is going to catch up with them. And I am extremely worried that at some point Greg Joseph is going to cost this team a football game. And the rest of the way, the Vikings have very little margin for error, especially if they want to get that 1 seed. And as they get into the playoffs, I'm worried. And it's not even missing a game-winning field goal, which he did last year at Arizona, week 2. But it's that, hey, missing a extra point where the Vikings could have been up 7, but instead you're up 6, and the other team marches down against Donatel's soft shell defense and then scores a touchdown, wins the game. I think it could be something like that. Not that don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby, but that does concern me. And the Vikings, they've dragged their feet long enough. I understand it's a cap issue where if they cut Joseph, they still have to pay him. He's still dead against the cap, and then you have to bring on additional cap of signing a new kicker. But it's just ridiculous at this point. I'm not saying maybe instead of just cutting him outright and replacing him, bring on someone on the practice squad. Free up a practice squad spot, bring on a kicker, and Greg Joseph, he did well during the offseason when they had Gabe Brkic behind him for a hot second. He won the job in OTAs, and Gabe Brkic, by the way, is just out there floating. He's like, hey, you brought him in once. Quasey, you got his agent's number, or our guy Rodrigo Blankenship is out there too. I don't even know if this list is accurate because SpotRack sometimes doesn't update these. Like Michael Badgley was still on here, and the Money Badger is currently on the Lions, but I don't know. Santoso's out there, allegedly. There's some kickers on some practice squads as well. So I say just bring in some competition. Just bring a little heat on Greg Joseph, and maybe this magically improves. Where, kicking is such a mental game. Kicking is really like golf. It's physical to a degree, but a lot of it is getting inside your own head, and a lot of it is confidence and just thinking about nothing. And the fact that Greg Joseph has 10 missed kicks through 11 games is just inexcusable, and the Vikings need to do something about it. Maybe they don't just cut Greg and then get a replacement, but bringing someone in on the practice squad, or at minimum bringing in a couple guys on Tuesday for a workout, make sure that Greg Joseph is there and he sees it and he's like, I better step it up, otherwise my face is going to be on this meme. We don't want that. We'll take this meme because we got jokes, but not this meme. That's not funny. Yeah. But your thoughts are our thoughts. Vikings, they got to do something about Greg Joseph. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.